Hey, what's up guys? In this video I'm going to be going over the offline lag that's in Black Ops 4 and comparing it to some of the previous Black Ops games. So just as a note, by offline lag, I mean the delay that you'll still get even when offline and on a LAN or a local area network connection. This is oftentimes known as peeker's advantage, where the person who walks around the corner sees the other person before that person sees him. And as far as I'm aware, this doesn't have to do with online lag compensation or latency, as this is the delay that happens before any of that occurs. So in the background, I'm going to show an example of what I mean. The video playing is in really slow motion, and as you can see, I'm measuring the delay that happens when someone first moves into someone else's vision. So basically what happens is that the person that's moving around the corner will see the other person before that person sees him. And that's the lag that I'm referring to. So now I'm going to start showing the full comparison footage in the background, and I'll have summaries on screen once I'm done with the footage for each game, and I'm going to put the timestamps for those summaries in the description. You're going to see that I listed facing and sideways as different categories in the results, and all this means is that I record the delay of when someone was mostly facing sideways while walking around a corner, as compared to when someone was more so facing the other person. I did this to see if it caused a difference, which it kind of did. So if you want a further explanation of what this is, I linked some other videos on this in the description, one by OvenBakedMuffin and the other by Drifter, so check those out if you want. I measured all the various forms of this that I could think of for Black Ops 4, and most of them for Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3. And just as a heads up before I continue, there are some noticeable instances where the lag is kind of bad in Black Ops 4, and this is going to be very noticeable in hardcore. Something else to note before I continue is that this sort of lag is in every FPS game as far as I'm aware of. It just varies in how bad it is. Now as for how I measured the delay, I only started timing on the first frame the body of the other person was visible. I also tried to match the size of the first frame I saw of the person with the frame I stopped at. So if I saw a large portion of the body on the first frame, I waited for another frame at the end if I saw a sliver of the other person's body. I also tried accounting for some inconsistencies in player models, like things on a player's shoulders, which happened with one of the specialists in Black Ops 3 that I was using. Another thing to note is this is on Xbox, so it's at 60 FPS, so each frame is about 16.7 milliseconds. One last thing to note before I stop talking and let the rest of the comparison video play out is that there is lag with the player models when moving in general, not just around corners. However, I don't think this doesn't affect bullet registration as far as I'm aware of, because the bullet registers based on the, I guess, shooter's perspective. However, what this does do is it causes inconsistencies in gunfights. So I'm going to stop the commentary here, but I'm going to give some commentary at the end about the results I've gotten and some analysis of it. So the first thing I'm going to cover is the one positive thing Black Ops 4 has over its predecessors in regards to offline lag, and this is for the delay while standing up from crouch while behind cover. In Black Ops 2, the delay was in favor of the peeker, so basically in favor of the person standing up, and it was a 100 millisecond delay that I measured. This is really strong and led to some very strong crouch peeking. So I remember this used to be a big thing when you were like sniping on the older CODs. So it basically meant by the time the other person saw you, you were basically about to quickscope them. In Black Ops 3, they reversed this so that the person standing up saw the other person after that person saw him. And in my opinion, it's actually better like this, as a person standing up behind cover already has an advantage as he's behind cover to begin with. However, in Black Ops 3, the delay was way too high at 200 milliseconds, and in Black Ops 4, they improved it a little bit, but it's still pretty high at 150 milliseconds. So what this means is that if you're prone or even crouched behind cover and you're standing up, you're going to be at a major disadvantage, so it's better to try to avoid those situations. Now onto the more negative stuff. Black Ops 4 is actually worse in regards to offline lag than its predecessors in every other case. It's worse by 0 to 2 frames compared to Black Ops 2, and by 1 to even 3 frames compared to Black Ops 3. And this was pretty surprising to me, as at worst I expected it to be the same as Black Ops 3, as that was already an improvement over Black Ops 2, and I didn't think they'd be going backwards. Something to note is that the lag on Black Ops 2 might be better on the Xbox One as compared to the past gen consoles, although I have no proof. The actual online netcode and lag compensation is definitely worse in Black Ops 2 compared to Black Ops 4. I had to add this in as I went back and played Black Ops 2, and there were definitely some frustrating deaths that I didn't have in Black Ops 4. And if you watch the video OvenBakedMuffin did that I linked in the description, you could see that Black Ops 2 had some really heavy cases of delay caused by lag compensation. So the online netcode definitely has improved a decent amount, although that's something you would hope would happen. The worst cases of lag aside from crouching are while jumping and sliding, and especially while mantling and grapple hooking. This is also where the biggest disparity compared to the previous Black Ops games is. Sliding and jumping causes 1 to 2 frames more delay than walking around a corner, and 0 to 1 frames more compared to running around a corner. And those are all in favor of the peeker, as in previous Call of Duty games. Seeing as you generally don't want to run around a corner, as you'll aim slower most of the time because you'll be coming out of sprint. Jumping and sliding around a corner are definitely a bit of an advantage over simply just walking around one. My theory is that the faster the player model is moving, the more delay it causes, and to be honest, this amount of lag is unacceptable, especially when you compare it to a game like Black Ops 3 or even Black Ops 2. Like, jumping around a corner had just like 50 milliseconds of delay, and this game it's like double that. And same thing with like sliding compared to Black Ops 3. And while jumping and sliding are pretty bad, they aren't the worst. The worst lag comes from mantling and grapple hooking. As of recording this commentary, I haven't tested the time it takes to mantle in Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3. However, either way, the lag in Black Ops 4 is way too high at 167 milliseconds to mantle. And while Treyarch switched the offline lag in regards to crouching so that the peeker was disadvantaged instead of advantaged like I talked about before, it doesn't look like they did that with mantling. So when you're mantling up something, the peeker has an advantage in this case, so the person mantling will see the other person before that person sees him. So that gives the person mantling a pretty big advantage over the other person. As with the grappling hook, this caused a 150 millisecond delay, which is also pretty bad. Watching the clip, you can also notice that the grapple hook was just as delayed as the person, and this is most likely part of the reason that grappling around a corner and grab slamming is so effective. So overall, I'd say that in core, this lag isn't game breaking, and that's pretty much entirely due to the higher time to kill, but it's still really subpar. The fact that we went backwards in this delay compared to Black Ops 3 and even Black Ops 2 is really not good, and I hope they address that in future games. As for hardcore, I'd say this lag is kind of game ruining. Due to the instant time to kill in hardcore, someone could easily just come around a corner and basically just shoot you, and by the time you see them, you're basically dead on their screen. So that could be pretty frustrating. So that's it for the video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And it definitely took a bit of time and effort to do this, so I would appreciate that. And feel free to leave your thoughts on this in the comment section below. And I'm most likely going to do a part 2 to this video in regards to the player model lag that I talked about earlier. And I'm also going to test this in blackout. I already have the footage, I just haven't measured it as of yet.
Positions. You see UAV. We did what we were paid to do.